Hi, my name is Jake Pointer, and this is my critical evaluation of my music video. And here's a little snippet of my To start off, I met the band and they're quite a lively, friendly bunch, so I thought that the music video would have to suit that. So if we just look at their website, they're an alt-rock kind of band, so if you look, they've got quite interesting pictures. So when we decided to make the video, I realised that it's going to have to be that kind, it's going to have to be similar to that. I can't do something very mundane or, you know, sort of black and white, and you know, it's not going to work with them. So that is why when we made the video, we almost went the opposite way with almost neon colours with our performance. At the start, it's very normal, and that's kind of Todorov's idea of equilibrium, of normal, and then this disequilibrium of him being chased, and that chasing is of guilt, because during the codes conventions of lyrics and visuals, there's a line. I'll repeat it, my dirty secret, even though it would be the end, definitely. And that was the whole idea that we made the video around, the idea of being chased. And then obviously there's a new equilibrium at the end when everything goes back to normal. As regards with music and visuals, it was a very fast-paced song, so that's why we chose a chase, so that we could keep the action fast. Believe it or not, I got the idea from a film called Crank, which is a very fast-paced film, and a lot of clever visuals are used in camera shots. And I saw that a long time ago, and that kind of spurred my made me start to think. So we started a chase scene. We used lots of different cuts. We cut to the music as much as possible. Unfortunately, we didn't have a rig or anything like that because it's far too expensive, so everything had to be done by hand. So if I wanted a downward shot on Kyle, I had to climb up the tree myself. And if I wanted him to run past me, I had to stand by him. And if I wanted the shot to follow him, I'd have to run next to him. So in that regard, and that helped out with the genre actually, because it came out, because when we did the editing, it kept to the band. It didn't. See, if we'd had used all this technology, it made it a little bit plastic. It would have been too clean for them, and that's what we didn't want. That we wanted it to be a bit rough, a bit like the band, really. Well, I'm not saying that rough anyway. Also, with the spheres of action, with Vladimir Prop, with the eight characters, we only had really three. We had the villain, which is usually the guild, the hero, which is Kyle, and at the end you find out he's the false hero, because anyone running from their guild have obviously done something wrong. Going on, the technology we use, I use a Twitter to interact with people and talk to the band, and always like many social networks to speak to them. Unfortunately, they kind of let us down a little bit, so we had to improvise. I mean, initially we were going to have the band playing to keep up the tempo, but we didn't have that. So we used Kyle, and this where the star icon if he comes in. If it had been a single person, then you could use that for a record deal, because there's a lot of him mid close-up. Initially, we weren't really going to have that, but because we didn't have a band, that's what we had to do. So we improvised, and I think we made it work. Apart from that, we used the location of the woods. That was a conscious effort. We didn't just choose a random place. We used the woods because it simulated the mind. The whole idea of the thing is it's inside his head. If I'd have done it again, I would like to make that point more clear. On evaluation, I realised that the point that's inside his head is a little bit hazy, and I'd like to make that more clear if I were to redo this video. But apart from that, on the whole, I think it's a success. I'm quite happy with it.
Okay, so in terms of audience feedback, how did you gather your audience feedback?
From social networking sites, I was a survey monkey and looking at surveys and then and talking to people online and talking to people how they felt about how they felt. And that's where I got the idea that I needed to do, if I was going to do it again, I'd have to redo the idea in his head, because I would say, well, they didn't really realise that, which is fair enough. So I would like to redo that if I could, but obviously I can't do that now.
Okay. What do you think are two things that you learned, the two biggest learning curves from the media technologies you used this year?
Understanding camera work, understanding how to work the camera, that you can't just pick up and, you know, you're going to get shots, you've got to work for it and you've got to play around with ideas. That you might have a set plan, but it's never going to go the way you want it to. And also using what's it called for editing. The editing software, never used before, very interesting, and I enjoyed it very much, sort of playing around with my stuff and realising that.
Favourite effects or favourite filters?
Probably the favourite filter would have been, favourite filter, I have a lot. I'd probably slowing down the time, adding and speeding up that, changing the pace, something that you can't do. I mean, lots of things you can do with the surroundings, but that kind of stuff is solely with the stuff you're using, so that really worked. I quite like that.
Thank you very much.